Welcome back. I'm Hugh Hewitt. If you are just tuning in, I sat down with the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, on Thursday. We talked about Las Vegas and big tech and, of course, the tax bill and generally, how is President Trump doing in his job as comforter-in-chief? We saw the president make a comment about Puerto Rico bonds this week, and the bonds cratered.
I saw that. Look, we passed legislation. I actually negotiated this bill in last year. We have an oversight board for Puerto Rico. It's called PROMESA, which is the law we passed to deal with Puerto Rico's financing crisis. That is the proper place. So this is not about having government change property rights on bonds. This is about, we have an oversight board that is working to get Puerto Rico in a good fiscal position so that they can actually go back and borrow again. If we were to take away property rights, then it would be really hard for Puerto Rico to ever go out and borrow money in the future. So we got to be mindful of that.
I bring up their bonds not because it's a good idea to kill the bondholders. It's not. You might have to bail out Puerto Rico in a different way.
The issue here is, can you help Puerto Rico get nurse themselves back to fiscal health, back to economic health, so that in the future they can actually go out and borrow money? And if you mishandle this situation, you could set up Puerto Rico for failure for a long time in the future. We want to set up Puerto Rico for success in the future.
So when you deal with the state and local income tax, aren't you messing with the bonds of other states?
Not in the least.
Tell me why not. Because a lot of bonds
not in the least because bonds are still tax preferred. The ratings of bonds and the bond markets are going to be just fine, because if you get 3+% economic growth, if you actually lower tax rates on hardworking Americans and on small businesses, you're going to have a stronger economy. That's going to give you more revenue. That's going to give you more growth. And that's going to make it easier for municipalities and states to go out and float their bonds and finance their projects.
Speaker, you're talking to a human being. If you cut me, I will bleed. But you're also talking to a Subchapter S corporation. And so this Subchapter S corporation loves your tax bill, because it's going to take my rate from 39.6% to 25%. Why in the world?
Well, can I ask you a lot of personal questions about your? Okay, okay, this is a good question. So, this is one of the things that our tax writers, which I used to be one, has to look at. So let's just take the best quarterback in America, Aaron Rodgers.
That would not be correct, but go ahead.
Okay, so we don't want to have a tax law that says Aaron Rodgers, who gets his salary from the Green Bay Packers, salary income from the Green Bay Packers, that's guaranteed, contract income, taxed at 39.6. And then let him turn it into an LLC, Aaron Rodgers LLC, and be at 25. That's not what we're interested in doing here. But if you're talking about the actual pass-through, the Subchapter S corporation that's out in an industrial park in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, with 50 employees, competing against Canada taxed at 15%, and they're up above 40%, yeah, we're going to lower their tax rate so they can be competitive. So the question here is, how do you have the right rules of definitions of income so that Aaron Rodgers, like I said, he's the best guy out there, so that he can't all of a sudden shelter his income from the regular tax rate that they ought to have applied to him? And how do you define business income so that it is lower tax? That is something
that's complicated.
It's very complicated. I could go for a half hour on how you write these rules.
I'm with you, because
the three-part test. And the point being, people with wage and salary income, that's a different tax rate, and that's why the president wants to have this fourth rate, which we're looking at, so they don't get the big rate cut that it goes to the middle class. But don't forget, Hugh, 8 out of 10 businesses in America, they're not corporations. They're LLCs, they're Subchapter S's, and their tax rates go even higher than corporations.
Right. I know.
And we are really shooting ourselves in the foot in this country. We tax our businesses between 35 and almost 40% effectively in America, and the rest of the world taxes their businesses on average at 22.5%. In this global economy, what that means is it tells companies in America, don't make things in America, don't be an American company, move overseas. The thermostat in this room is made by Johnson Controls, I bet. That used to be the biggest business in Wisconsin, headquartered in Milwaukee. It is now headquartered in Dublin, Ireland. And their international tax rate is 12.5%. That's what Ireland is, not 35%. That's the point we're trying to make.
If we tackle Aaron Rodgers, pardon the pun, he is making money from an insurance company by doing funny ads. That's going to a Subchapter S. That's not coming from the Green Bay Packers.
I haven't looked at Aaron Rodgers' tax form, so I don't know what his is.
But should we lower that rate?
But the point being, you have to have, straight line tests, just real tests of, is this a business or is this a person who's guaranteed wage and salary income?
Let me close by asking you about the president. There have been...
I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, there have been 4 crises in a month. I think it's a record. Irma, Harvey, Maria, and now the Las Vegas massacre. How do you think the president is doing in this pressure cooker?
I think I've talked to him about these things. He has tremendous compassion. He's flying to these emergencies as soon as he can without jeopardizing responses. And I think the fact that he's going and stopping what he's doing and focusing on these things, we've talked about the supplementals, we've talked about these issues, it shows me that the people who are suffering from these tragedies are in his mind front and center.
Last question, Speaker Ryan. Are you going Babe Ruth on this tax bill? Are you going to pick your the fence, say it's going over the ball? Is it going to happen this year?
It's got to happen. So, look.
That's not a yes.
I feel, well, I'm the House of Representatives, not the United States Senate. I was going to show you my chart.
Please
I don't have time. We got to get going. But, you know, we've got bills passed out of the House, 383. Bills, wait, no, these are the wrong charts. Wait, sorry, here we go. Sorry, I do two-sided charts. We save money here. Bills passed out of the House, 337. Bills sitting over in the Senate, 274. So on this half of the Capitol, we can hit our timelines. We can pass our bills. It takes more time to get things done over the Senate. But I still believe that the Senate, using the rules that they can to avoid filibusters, to get things done quickly, and I think they're just as invested as we are to get this done by the end of the year. That's our plan. That's their plan. I know we can meet that deadline. I'm pretty sure they can, too.
Bob Corker and Rand Paul, they're trouble.
Got to go.
Got to go.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
See you. You bet.
That concludes my interview with Speaker